When we know where the fish might be standing, at what depth and how hidden, it's possible for us to choose a fly and a way to present the fly to the fish. Here we're focusing on the size of the fly and also the depth in which we want to present the fly. This is a deadly spot for sea trout. It has everything we want. You have a deeper part of the current, you have overhanging branches from small trees, and you have a very deep hole in behind me with loads of vegetation in my own side and in the other side. This place is really good for deep strategies. I would choose a nymph, an articulated streamer, a weighted double hook fly, something that would come down. You could also fish it with non-weighted flies on a sinking line, which means the line will drag the fly down, but the fly will be moved easily by the current because it's not so heavy. Fishing spots like these, an entire sinking line or a partly sinking line would be an advantage. Let's have a look at the flies we use for deep strategies. Flies like nymphs with rubber legs and weighted beads. Jig flies with tungsten beads. Big articulated sculpin streamers with weighted heads. And more classic double hooked flies with polar bear wings. And some light streamers as well, but fished on a sinking line. Light streamers like this magog smelt. Let's take a look at the flies we use for surface strategies. Flies like dry flies, classic imitations. These are just emergers and small duns. We've got foam beetles with rubber legs. We've got, this is a dolly fly, it's called Dolly Parton, which has a foam back, also effective. And then we have the wake flies. This is called a Camilla, moves with a wake across the water. Could also be sunker strip flies like this, or these MV discs where you have a flat disc in front and some rubber legs on them as well, and just a bit of weight that just pulls it just under the surface. And in a later episode we're going to show you how to fish all these different flies. Your choice of presentation should be based on how the fish sees the fly. That be whether you fish it on the surface swinging, or if you dead drift it, or if you fish it actively with nymphs or jigs or jerks in either the rod or the line. When you swing the fly, it's important that you get it across to the other bank, as close to the other bank as possible, and then you let the current do the work. So you swing the fly from the other bank across the current and across the stream into your own side. Let it come into your own side and you work it. In this case I'm combining it with nymphing retrieve, which keeps an even pace of the fly when you move it across the water. When dead drifting, you normally cast upstream and you make sure that you just keep tension on the line, just enough so that you get a drag-free drift. It's very important that you try to find the lane in which you think the fish will be lying, so that you get the fly directly into the face of the fish. Some people call these lanes for feeding lanes, and it can be really effective to get the fly right into the nose of the fish. Sometimes it can be really deadly to fish the fly actively, meaning that you pull the line with jerks or you jerk with the rod tip. In this case I'm fishing a sinking line and a very heavy jig fly. The idea is to get the fly down, and then I jig the fly simply just by using the tip of the rod. And then in this case I'm using also a nymph retrieve just to make the fly come a bit upstream. I can let it go down and I can jerk it again if I find some deep holes or deep parts of the current where I believe that a fish will be holding. I want to get down as close to it as possible and then jig the fly right in front of the fish.